It's definitely a movie where this woman stands next to an arcade cabinet that is the Rampage game.
Like, how does that, like, that was, so like, the evil people have an arcade cabinet of Rampage in their, like little office.
Yeah.
And it's like, how?
And they named their plan to make giant monsters that are invincible Project Rampage.
How could you not be constant? If you live in a universe where the game Rampage exists, how can you not be constantly saying, "Oh my God, it's just like the game Rampage"?
Right? When there's a giant monkey, a giant lizard, and a giant wolf. If I was in Chicago watching all of this happen, I'd be like, at least we're going to die in a video game parody, because this is clearly Rampage.
You know what? Actually, that makes one scene make more sense.
Yeah.
Why would they name the wolf Ralph?
Yeah.
For no reason.
Right? Like, that bothered me a little bit because
what is like the folks on the internet are calling him Ralph.
Like, but why?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Screen. I'm Andrew, and this is Chris.
Why, hello there.
Well, we just saw Rampage. We just saw that in theaters.
That we did.
And we're so excited about it. We don't want to wait for Rampage 2. We're gonna make it today. If we're gonna kind of look into the sequel possibilities here. So when the movie leaves off, they keep teasing this rat.
Weirdly enough, the rat keeps on coming up.
And I'm watching the movie and I'm thinking to Rampage 2. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was a rat in Rampage 2. And it never comes up. Like the bad guys have this rat, and they're and then like certain characters like get the rat and they give it to other characters, and it's just kind of like being moved around. And also the first sequence in the pre-credits or whatever it is, like in space, there's like a space monster rat.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, it's extra weird because the movie opens with a rat. Yeah,
so I'm thinking I got a bit of a pitch for Rampage 2. I got a few ideas.
All right.
First of all, I think that it should include Space Rat coming back to Earth.
Yes, definitely it has to involve Space Rat returning.
And I think the rat that they save in the movie is sort of its twin, and they need its DNA to somehow solve this rat problem.
All right.
Another thing I think, so the movie ends with George, the ape, kind of like they can't cure him. He's just big
he's
now.
Forever a big monster.
But it's like it's like a happy ending because like they find like a place for him to hang out and stuff like. Yeah, they kind of leave it open a little bit, if I remember. So I think that this movie should be about finding a cure for George. I think he should come back.
I see.
And I also feel like if there is a cure, then I think the Rock's got to be big.
All right, so we're gonna go with Big Rock.
I think Rock's gonna be big, and because there's a cure, you can bring him back. but I feel like a giant Dwayne Johnson
is definitely the way to go.
That's what I want to see, and I don't know if he's one of the characters from Rampage 2 the game, or if he is just a big The Rock with some sort of other animal mutation powers.
Just a very large The Rock.
So. Yeah, I feel like those are the 3 points I wanted. I wanted the rat involved. I wanted it, like him being saved at the end, like to mean something. Mm-hmm. Also, that space rat at the beginning to sort of come back to that. I want the cure. I think it's a good way to get the Rock back involved. He's like, you can cure my friend.
Yeah.
Like he finds out that George can go back to normal, and he's like signing to him like, buddy, we can bring you back. Remember Small Ape?
Remember when you got to enjoy living in a normal life?
Yeah, like he's like with George, he's like he's just not happy this way, so there's that, and then of course, Big Rock.
You gotta do Big Rock.
I think we gotta do Big Rock.
Very much a very important thing to do. My question is, how do we get there? Because we could have the rat come back from space.
Sure.
But I feel like we need more than just a rat.
Oh, yeah, no, there should be more. And some of the characters from Rampage 2 should probably play a part in there.
Like the Big Lobster Man and
there's a lobster, and then there's the rhino. So, like, the evil corporation, like, basically gets dissolved. They probably have, like, a second site or something. Like there's something.
Well, the thing is, and the reason why I was asking like how we're gonna get there is the corporation sure was evil, but it's really just because the brother-sister duo that run the company were evil.
Right, yeah.
Like we need new hammy villains, and where are we gonna get them is my question. I want to go so hammy that maybe that rat was important, not because it has the cure. I mean, it can still have the cure, but maybe it has like evil lady's DNA in it, and she...
Oh, damn.
That's like her backup, and that's why she cared so much about it.
That's such a good idea.
Because, like, she cared about this rat too much in the movie. Like, she cared about nothing but money.
Yeah, she's, like, hiding her own DNA in that rat. Oh, that's so good.
Like, she cared because that was her, like, her backup.
Yeah, and the way she, like, backed up her files in her, like, thermostat, maybe she backed up her brain somewhere.
Like, the rat is a nice little backup of herself.
Oh, my God. All right, yes. So, all right. So the rat has maybe her and her brother, because you want to bring them both back.
Yeah. Like,
this is so wacky.
I mean, the movie was really wacky. It was, so that's why I feel
movie.
Like all right saying these things.
I mean, yeah, let's go big, and we can always hone it back if we need to. When like the evil lady gets like, I don't know, like the sixth day, if we could use that as a verb, if she gets turned, like she comes back to life.
Yeah.
Is that like the plot of the movie, or is that like the twist in the middle, or is that like the dark third act where they have to stop her or whatever?
I guess it'll really depend on where we want to go, because we could play this for laughs, where she succeeds, but she's still stuck in a normal rat's body. And, like, she's in there with her brother, so she has to, like, sneak out of a cage and use a keyboard to try and, like, make her machinations happen.
All right. How about this for a possibility? Like, there's... all right. When you say she... So you're saying that she gets, like... When you say she's like in a rat's body, what do you mean by that exactly?
I mean that rat, like.
Well, but from what I understand, like it's just her DNA in a rat's body. Like it's not her consciousness.
Well, we don't want to just do her DNA, otherwise it'll just be a version of her that has none of her experience or memories.
What I was saying like before is that like her brain is backed up on a computer.
I see.
Let's just say in some way, maybe we can circle back to this. She brings herself back using technology.
Yes, like wacky made-up science.
Wacky made-up science.
That is the whole thing with this movie.
Yeah. So she brings herself back and her brother back. Maybe he's.
I want the brother to be an accident because she clearly didn't care about it.
I think he should be like maybe a little bit like deformed and like he's like part rat maybe.
Ooh, there you go.
Like the DNA wasn't clean. And so he's still like he's a little bit rat, or maybe he doesn't look like he's a rat, but he acts like a rat a little bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's always eating something in the movie. He's like eating a Pop-Tart or a burger. Maybe he's like munching on some cheese and eating it like a rat. We have these like other characters, these other monsters we probably want to have.
Yeah.
We got the lobster, we got the rat. All right, so the rat's already kind of like we've already talked about the rat, and then we got this rhino. Do we want to bring all three of them? Like I feel like probably
rat, rhino, lobster.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pro bringing them all.
Because, like, if it's not going to be a Rampage movie if there's one same...
Oh, no, we definitely need more monsters.
You need more monsters, not less.
Well, toward the end of the movie, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, as a cowboy, he takes a cell phone and he gives the rat to a guy who's, like, one rank lower than him in the military.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with, like, sergeants and all that nonsense.
I don't know,
But, like, it was clearly, like, just one bar lower on the totem.
Yeah.
So that man has the rat. He goes back with the rats, and unbeknownst to him, the rat's already begun the plan of reverting to evil... Like, she had a kill switch in her body or something. Like, some dumb explanation for how this is happening.
The rat is, like... I think kind of it's like running on instinct that it has to, it's been triggered and now it just instinctively now knows to do whatever
the plot requires.
Yeah, right.
But that puts the rat, who we're going with, is the backup of these evil twins or brother sister. I don't know if they were twins or not, because they could have been fraternal twins.
Who knows?
So it's now in a military complex, and I don't know how we want to play it, but I need this rat to somehow convince this man that has the rat to do certain things. Like, maybe it's whispering in his ear while he's asleep.
He could type it on a keyboard.
Yeah, typing on a keyboard. But we could use the military to get things started, and they can link up with Energyne later on. But it puts us in a situation where, like, maybe a branch of the military can steal George, and that could be how we get this project started that results in our rhino friend.
Yeah.
The lobster person.
So they steal George, which makes it more like the game.
Yeah. That way George is, like, somewhere else in the world, because maybe it starts...
Yeah, maybe like the military wants to use George as a weapon.
Yeah, which was, I think, Energyne's whole plan to begin with.
Energyne, right?
Energyne, yeah. Whatever. Energyne. I lose track.
Yeah, all right. So the military wants to use George as a weapon. Maybe like they capture him and like they're like running tests on him or something, or
maybe just one branch of the military, like some secret group or something. But really, it's just the machinations of this dumb rat.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think we're painting ourselves into like a difficult situation on like it's the government? Like,
see,
how do you take on the government?
I'm trying to like switch away from the government.
Yeah.
I just need them to start the action because they have the resources to do that.
Yeah.
Like, this company can't show up and steal it after they've been put in the spotlight as being the people that made these monsters. Like, we need a different motivating factor, and then we could switch to the company later on. All right, so I think I like the notion of the Rock becoming the giant rhino. It would be a waste of the name, but that's all right. Like,
maybe he needs like a code name or something, you know?
Ooh, or maybe the rhino he merges with was named Boris.
Yeah.
Like, we're using the special DNA of a particularly intelligent rhino. That way you don't become a mindless monster. His name was Boris. We miss him every day.
All right. So the Rock becomes Boris the Rhino. Or maybe just like the Rock gets rhino powers or something. There's something. Rock becomes big.
Yeah.
He gets rhino DNA. There is sort of a cure at the end of this. Like there has to be some. I feel like he wouldn't do that to himself
if he couldn't change back.
If he couldn't change back, and if George wasn't in trouble. So I think George is like captured, and there is a cure. I think, and it's not like last time where they say there's a cure and there's really not. Like there's proven, there's definitely a cure. I think that there has to be, because he can't get tricked twice. I don't think. So there's definitely a cure, and so he's going in. Maybe like the government is the one giving him the. But what if it's a terrorist organization that wants? All right. How about that like they've captured George?
So maybe like we have the rat in a situation where it has access to military resources, but she links up with like a terrorist cell because the government would have access to that kind of information.
Yeah, maybe she like
a bioterrorist group.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I can't work in the private sector anymore, so maybe it's time to work in the illegal sector.
Yeah. That's something.
It's definitely like it helps us use the fact that she's been traded for a cell phone earlier, so she has access to the government files.
Yeah,
she could free someone like she could free like a rogue scientist.
Yeah,
that she knew was big into this kind of research. Movie opens. We have this rat. Well, actually, let's have a little time jump. Like,
time jump. Yeah.
There's been enough time that George has like a big old sanctuary where he's able to frolic because he's it was a big monster. You can't have him in a normal zoo.
He's doing okay. Maybe he's not the happiest, but he's doing.
Yeah. So he's there. It's been enough time that the rat is conscious of the fact that the lady's in there. And maybe the brother's voice is in there too.
Okay.
And she starts enacting her plan, which is she's in a facility where the government's keeping high-profile terrorists, and we have the one that's going to be our new, like, human-bodied villain who is going to be working with the rat lady and the brother.
Okay.
So she, using her ability to be a rat and not be suspected by anyone, frees the terrorist. He gets out.
So, all right. So just to make sure I understand this, so she is fully conscious in this rat at this point?
I mean, it's easier than starting with her not fully conscious.
Well, that just brings up more questions. Like the whole movie that we saw, Rampage 1, she was also in a rat.
All right, you're right. We do need to show that happen.
Like what I'm thinking is that she genetically engineered this rat to, when given the signal, whatever that was, to instinctively do these steps.
Yeah.
Like you know, the rat is compelled to type on the keyboard and do whatever. In
that case, we do need to figure out what those steps are going to be. Like we're going from rat to not a rat. So like what's the end goal?
Yeah. Maybe she already is part of like a terrorist organization, and the rat's job is to get back to them.
All right.
Like it needs to find its way home.
For convenience sake, it could be it realizes that this dude is in government custody.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it's just like a easy situation of free the dude. Which for a rat is just, chew some cables so a cell slides open.
Right. Yeah, sure.
And then the terrorist could take the rat, and then we could watch in real time as he activates whatever gene Y starts the process of bringing her back.
Yeah.
So that'll free our new villain character, which we need to do. It starts the plan in motion, and we could start jet setting. Like, he could bring us back to pick country, and that's where he's going.
All right, yeah. So... Yeah, the villains get extracted from the rat, and they're back. That's easy peasy. However they do it, it's computer, genes, whatever. It's science magic.
Yeah, science magic.
It just happens.
And the brother is still part rat because that's funny.
I think he's
nebbish and rat to begin with.
He's like a little bit rat. Like he'll scratch himself or nibble on stuff. Like he's a bit of a rat. That's funny. All right, great. They're back. That's easy. So meanwhile, on the Rock side, I feel like George is not happy being so big, and maybe somehow there's a cure. Like maybe Dr. Caldwell comes up with a cure or something. Maybe they've been working on a cure.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right, so George is not happy, and obviously The Rock is not happy because George isn't happy.
Right,
he wishes there was a way to make him better.
Yeah.
So beginning of the movie is this exciting rat freeing a terrorist and them leaving situation. Then we cut back to The Rock and the George, and we learn that George isn't happy, and The Rock wishes there was some way to help him when they're approached by some individual.
Sure.
It could be our villain that we met earlier wearing a fake mustache, or it could just be a new person, probably a new person. That way the audience doesn't know immediately, but they know.
Yeah, they know.
And this person, in reality, works for the terrorists, and he's like, hey, I've been reading about your plight. Yeah, so this guy comes and hey, I could help you. But he's actually working for the terrorist organization, so they take George away.
Right, yeah.
And that's when The Rock, after he tearfully waves goodbye and he's looking at the business card or whatever, and he's like, all right, I guess I'll go visit George in a day or two and see how they're doing.
It could be good. Is George is I don't want. He's signing. I don't want to go, and he's it's okay, George. They're gonna help you. It's I don't trust them. It's okay, you can trust these guys. And then they double cross him, and now The Rock is you've made me into a liar.
Yeah.
That'd be such a good it's the motivation's there. It's
and it's a good way to tie this all together. We've been having trouble with how does one go to the other. So this is a pretty straight and easy path, and it helps with the character motivations and their arcs. So that's good. So anyway, Rock hands George over, and then he finds out via a frantic phone call from a certain cowboy character in the first movie.
Yeah.
It's I got some bad news. That rat went missing. No, he wouldn't call about the rat. He would just call and be like, hey, keep your eye open. A genetic terrorist has gotten loose who we believe had ties with... with
Energene.
Energene.
Yeah.
And that's when he goes oh, that's... I just handed George over to Blank. And, oh no, he's on our list of associates. So that gets us started. George has been kidnapped.
George has been kidnapped.
Our villains are established, and the stakes are now established. So that's good.
And they also have to present there is a cure. They need to test it on something, just so The Rock can see and the audience can see that there actually is a cure.
Yeah. We could do that. So we cut to the terrorist group. At this point, we could do things in fun, campy ways where, at this point, their bodies aren't quite done yet. So, we have, weird little goblins of the villains.
Sure, yeah.
Or they're fully formed. It doesn't matter. I really like campy bullshit, so I always think about this kind of stuff. Anyway, so she could, be talking about, hey, Project Rampage worked great besides the fact that, we couldn't really control the monsters. And that's when New Terrorist is that's because you were working with pure animals. I'm going to be doing things the right way, splicing humans with animals.
Yeah, that's good.
And at that point, like, who would ever agree to that? It's a one-way trip. Oh no, I really do have a cure. And that way we could establish, like, we really could bring the Rock back to normal.
Yeah, okay.
And George back to normal.
All right, that's pretty good.
And that's how we could work Boris into the equation, because Boris is a pretty good... for some reason, they're Russian terrorists in my mind. And that's just because we're back to the good old days where Russia's a convenient movie villain.
So, all right, cool. We have...
Or North Korean. Wait, take a pick of
whatever.
News.
Well, they're kidnapping George for any particular reason?
I'm thinking I'm going with, like, Project Rampage was great, but we couldn't control them, and also now we don't have anything, because their motivation for trying to capture any of these things was that's the last of, like, their research.
Oh, yeah. All right, so they want George
they need
back,
George, so they have to get George for us to have more monsters.
Yeah, they're using George's DNA for the monster. Yeah.
So
makes sense.
You use George's DNA and they make the giant Rhino monster, and they make
they can make a whole bunch from, like, the long list of monsters.
Yeah, we have a huge list we can pull from.
It doesn't matter who they are. It's just it's like three more monsters, maybe 4 more monsters. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever's a good number. Probably 3, because in the end it's going to be the Rock, George, and I'm thinking, like, and then maybe, like, 1 new character we introduce, or we use the lady scientist.
I mean, do you want to do so we got George the Rock as Giant the Rock, whatever.
Yeah, he could be a monster, or he could be just a big version of himself.
And then they fight the 3 monsters from the second game.
Yeah,
like we could just do it like that.
That works. That brings the rat in. It brings the fucking sorry. We get the rat, we get the lobster, and we get the rhino.
I mean, we don't even have to make it the space rat. We could just make
it could just be a new rat.
It could be a new rat.
So, that takes care of that.
So I think the biggest thing that we're missing is the Rampage part.
Yes.
The big fight in the middle of a major city.
We definitely need that.
And maybe even 2 major cities, like 2 different parts in the movie. Maybe there's like the big fight right after the midpoint, and then there's the Act 3 fight. We get 2 monster fights this time. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, 1 fight could be freeing George. That way we get George back in the scenario. And that could take place in 1 big city.
Yeah. And then they have to go to and destroy something in the other city.
Yeah, like they want the cure, but it turns out the cure isn't here. The cure is, like, over in blah blah.
Now, like, what is the motivation for monsters to destroy a city?
Well, we're going with a terrorist organization, so a terrorist attack is a pretty easy one.
But, like, terrorists don't just attack for fun. Like, there's usually a reason. Like,
that's true.
Like, what do they want? Like usually it's more like there's like a threat where it's like we will attack if you don't give us blank, or if it's like we need to take down this enemy. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, we do need a reason for this.
Yeah,
we're almost there. Like
yeah. We're really close here. I feel all right. So what did the evil twins? What do they want? They just want, like, money, right? Like, aren't they?
They didn't even ask for, like, money. They literally, the brother cared about money, and the sister was just really pro making big monsters.
Maybe like they do have, like, a world domination sort of, like, maybe Rampage 1 was, like, the first step toward world domination, and now they want to do maybe that was, like, the plan all along. I feel like the brother, that wasn't his plan.
Yeah.
He's a dope, because, like, when she shot the Rock, he was like, oh no.
Yeah, he was quite shocked about it.
Yeah,
and also, like, he was the one that cared that they were losing money.
Yeah, he's in it for the money.
Our stocks took a dip, and he freaked out, and she was just like, it doesn't matter because
yeah. So he's like a normal, like, yuppie boy.
Yeah,
like
she's working for, like,
yeah.
The reason why choosing, like, a villainous government works is you don't need, like, a weird terrorist plot. You really just need, we have a super weapon and now we can conquer the West or whatever. We just need some dumb motivation that gets this terrorist cell doing stuff.
I mean, do we want to just say world domination?
World domination's easy.
Like, that's very easy. It's a cartoonish supervillain sort of thing. That's kind of what we're in.
It's a CBB, all right?
It's like, a CBB.
World domination, unless we think of something better.
It could be better, but it's fine. All right. So is she the leader of this? Or is she like a a high-ranking member, or...
Well, if we want this to be a franchise that might have more than 2 entries, we probably want her to be the leader of it. That way she could just keep coming back.
Okay, so Energine was just a front, and her brother didn't even know that.
Yeah, like, she's been radicalized a long time ago, and has this, like, very grand plan, and the brother just thinks, like, we're making money.
It'd be cool to have her some sort of, like, have like, a motivation to want to take over the world, but, I mean, whatever.
I mean, that's something we could work in when it's an actual movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, it would be fun to give her a backstory, but, I mean, for now, she just wants to take over the world.
Yeah.
She's gonna take over the world with monsters. Rampage 1 was just the test, and now she sees, like, it's possible, and now she's gonna do it. So maybe she puts monsters in a bunch of cities, like she puts them in major cities.
Yeah.
And now we're getting away from it. We're getting away from the George. All right, so maybe George gets saved at the midpoint.
Yeah, I'm thinking again, like, the first big fight scene is when we save George.
And the midpoint is then it's revealed, oh, this is not just, one thing. It's a world domination plot.
Yeah, like, Jeffrey Dean Morgan can again, like, we have bigger problems.
Yeah.
Like, and then The Rock turns on his cell phone and sees that the other monsters that we've been hinting at are in, like, these major cities. And that's when Jeffrey Dean Morgan's like, I have a crazy plan that might just work.
Yeah, it's like you know these monsters better than the other person, and also I've seen you take out the guys with the bare hands. Naturally, got to put those two together. We need you to monster up.
And don't worry, you won't be alone. I'm coming with you.
They got the cure. All right. This is something.
Yeah, we're definitely on our way. Like,
it's very stupid, but so is Rampage.
Like, that's actually good. So midpoint in the movie, we free George.
Yeah. It seems like the plot's over.
Yeah, like,
nope.
they not only do they free George, they have the cure in their hands.
Yeah.
And The Rock is about to administer it when Jeffrey Dean Morgan goes like, "Hey, the world is at stake.
Yeah,
like, these monsters are everywhere." And we have no means of fighting them. If you cure George, we have nothing.
Yeah. We need to fight. Yeah. What we need is the end of Act 2, that big push for Act 3. What is the big fight? What's the fight that could, like, maybe end the world? Like, these stakes are getting too high now, but whatever, it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really dumb movie to begin with.
So, like, we need, like, the stakes where it's like, we need a big fight in the city, and we also need that sort of, like, disillusionment end of Act 2 sort of, like, the thing that kind of goes like, okay, here's the real deal we need to do. And I don't know what that is.
I mean, saving the world seems pretty good, but
weren't they just doing that?
Well, they were just saving George. Like,
yeah, but after the midpoint, then they're fighting monsters in the city. Like after the midpoint, there's like, we can't just go straight to Act 3 after the midpoint.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be, like, something bigger at stake. Like, or maybe Act 3 is when he becomes the monster. I think that maybe should be it.
Oh yeah, I didn't think The Rock was going to turn into something big until Act 3. Like, Act 2, he saves George via his own power.
So then what happens between him saving George and The Rock getting mutant large? I feel like we have a lot of ideas that fit into a movie that don't necessarily contradict each other.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have the strongest, like, end of Act 2 sort of thing, but I don't know. I mean,
Rampage 1 didn't really have all that great.
Yeah, but I think we've definitely got, like, the bones of a fairly fun sequel.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want to start wrapping this up?
I think so. I think we have 1, 2, 3. The connecting meat isn't great, and the terrorist organization's motivation is a very bog standard, like, we're gonna take over the world.
We don't have a lot of the very fun details, but what we do have is that we have, like, nods to the second game, and I feel like we used a lot of the fun things that were left over from the first movie.
Yeah.
So I think based on that, it's a pretty good adaptation. It's maybe not the strongest story we've ever done, but it
works for this kind of movie.
It does. Yeah. All of these loose ends can be explained away. You know, if we spent like another hour on this, which I'd rather not do.
No, I'm very done here.
So yeah, I think we're good. I think everything, all of the fun of this idea has been squeezed out. We have all the sweet nectar from this fruit, and now I think it's up to the screenwriters now. Well, if you've got any other adaptations that you would like us to do, you leave that in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
And we'll give it a shot. Well, that's it for Screen to Screen. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
See you next time.